2020, and you all know what we were dealing with then. Bengaluru-based Gurupriya Athreya and Chennai-based musician Vedant Bharadwaj embarked on a mammoth journey where they attempted to document lullabies from across the country and the world with their project Sing a Lullaby. How it unfolded was for 52 weeks, which is a year, every Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, Guru and Vedant would share a Zoom link with an open forum, and people from across the country and the world would log in, where Guru and Vedant would sing, share, and teach a lullaby to anyone who needed that sort of anchoring or wanted to find in the lullaby a warm hug, needed a balm for their body, mind, and soul. It was a fabulous project that finally culminated after a year, and Sing a Lullaby also unfolded as a live experience. It's not yet traveled to Chennai, and we're hoping that we'd be able to present that in Chennai. But really, a lullaby, I went on to work on a story on the lullaby, and so many different people told me so many different things on the lullabies. Someone, a very famous musician, Bombay Jayashree, told me that a lullaby is not just a song, it is an emotion. It is the communication of affection. It's about nostalgia, it's about memories. Memories that transcend barriers of caste, culture, and language. Lullaby is about the first sounds that we hear and internalize as babies. In its form, content, construct, the lullaby is gentle, hummable, accessible, and by virtue of the universality of its content, it has a quality of endearment. It is a song and a symbol of healing. And in healing, there is a great sense of escape, and there is a great sense of refuge. We just thought it would be wonderful to sing a lullaby and then talk about lullabies. So Vedant and Guru, over to you.
So this lullaby is a lullaby written in Grameen Marathi, where the mother is trying to make the baby sleep and warding off evil spirits and hoping the child eats properly, sleeps properly, general concerns of and trying to promise the baby that I will get a really good carpenter from somewhere really far away. Nirgundi is a village in Orissa. So imagine somebody coming from Orissa to Maharashtra to create this beautiful cradle that's going to have a lot of engravings of peacocks and sparrows to keep my little baby company while she sleeps.
And through the song she also says, "How long am I going to keep rocking this cradle? My hands are hurting, please fall asleep." Niz niz re valya zo kadet mya tuzala. Niz niz re valya zo kadet mya tuzala. Zo kadet haat maza dukhla. Zo zo zo. Zo kadet haat maza dukhla. Zo zo zo. कुण्या पाप्याची दृष्ट झाली गबाई. कुण्या पाप्याची दृष्ट झाली गबाई. बाळ्या माझा खाला पिला नाही. जो जो जो. बाळ्या माझा खाला पिला नाही. जो जो जो.
सुतार निर्गुंदी कारागीर आणला. रंगीत पालना बनविला जो 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 रंगीत पालना बनविला जो 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 चारी बाजूला चिमण्या मोर काढिला चारी बाजूला चिमण्या मोर काढिला मध्ये तान्या बाळ्या निजविला जो 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 मध्ये तान्या बाळ्या निजविला जो 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 जो
Zo, 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 but people don't sleep now. And can I please ask you both to resurrect this project, because so many of us did not have the opportunity to like join because we were so caught up with so many other things. But it would be lovely if you I know it's really a lot of effort and work, but thank you so much for doing this. It's such a fantastic project, and I'm always like, really, really, it's such a heartwarming project. So thank you for doing this. I want to firstly ask you, did you find the lullabies, or did the lullabies find you?
Both. In fact, when we put out the word, it took a lot for us to actually commit to 1 year. We did this on a whim, on a phone call. After 7 years of wanting to work on a lullaby album, Vedant had his daughter 9 years back, and I had mine 7 years ago. And this was something that we've been wanting to do as a lullaby album. But it just so happened that lockdown and the COVID, I think, really brought in more meaning in terms of why we want to do this. And I think we didn't want to confine it to just working together and putting it out by ourselves. Vedant suggested, in fact, that why don't we do a workshop, because I don't have an experience of teaching music. And he said, 1 year? That's 52 weeks. Are you joking? Because both of us put together, we knew just less than 10 lullabies. But oh my God. From the time we sent out the mail, I think the very first week we had 127 participants. And lullabiers, we call them. So this lullabier family is now 450. The community has people from India and around the world.
Yes, fantastic. Do you recall any special story by, I'm sure there's so many memories that you've sort of accumulated over the years of this 1 year of meeting people. Is there any memory that stands out, Vedant? Like, can you tell us a story?
One very special mail we got was from a young mother, and she said that I've just given birth to my child, and I come from this joint family, and everybody in my family have made a connection with my baby, and I still haven't. So I want to join this workshop so that I can learn some lullabies and then form this connection. So that was very, very touching. It was a very beautiful mail we received from
Absolutely.
one of the lullabies.
Guru, you mentioned that at the time that you started, you knew 10 lullabies. And obviously 52 weeks is not a joke. Tell us about what and how you went about researching these lullabies. And why did you also decide to open it out? Like, why did you decide to go outside of the country and look at lullabies from across the world? So talk to us a little bit about the universality of the lullaby and its emotions per se.
So through the year, like I said, Tuesdays were the day for teaching the lullabies. Wednesdays were the only day of the week that Vedant and I never connected. From Thursday, we would start our drill of, we also had a lullaby bank sort of a thing. So as and when we were researching, mostly, thanks to the World Wide Web, it is really the virtual world that has helped us. We've had a lot of lullabies that have been passed down oral tradition that were given to us by our friends. Word of mouth. I think the very first 2-3 weeks we started receiving lullabies from Kashmir. I remember, I think we received one email from a friend of yours from Jharkhand, from a
Yeah.
tribal community.
Correct.
Yeah, so word of mouth, the virtual world, and week after week, like I said, it actually beautifully unfurled, like on its own. It started going to
Organic.
different
Yeah,
languages, and we also tried our best to speak to people from that region to get the pronunciations right. Because
Yeah,
for
I
us,
noticed that,
before
yeah.
we taught the lullabies, it was about going over word by word, getting the pronunciations right, the meanings of every word before we teach. Anything else that you would like to add to this?
Yeah, so I mean, lullabies itself are very universal. There's one thing, whenever I meet a musician or an arts practitioner or anybody, like not just anyone from the arts field, but if I met somebody from who would speak a different language, I would, one of my first questions that I would ever bond with them is, can you teach me a lullaby in your language?
Yeah.
So it's because lullabies are, we are born with them, and so it's everybody has heard a lullaby. So, and there are lullabies which are created, as Gurupriya just said, like their family heirloom lullabies, and they've not even left the family. So we received a lot of those lullabies also.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, in its form, the lullabies have a particular way in which they're sung, right? They're soft, they're gentle. Um, to use a common word, reviewers use mellifluous. I, I didn't want to use that word, but anyway. But in terms of its content, you've now researched and shared so many lullabies from across the country and the world. Tell us about, content-wise, would you say they're all about, a mother's love for the child, or what are some of the discoveries you made in terms of the content, the poetic content itself?
There are all kinds of lullabies. there are
Because one associates
Yeah.
just
Yes.
lullabies with mother's
Yeah.
love, right? Yeah.
Of course, the most known ones are the mellifluous,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the very soothing lullabies. But there are lullabies where the mother says, "You better go to sleep," or "Puchandi vandrum," that kind of.
Do you remember any?
Yeah, yeah,
You
of
remember
course.
one? Do you think you
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
sing us
sure.
one? Because we also have a children's festival happening, and I don't know if I don't see too many children here, but yeah.
Do do piti popo pavle do piti popo pavle do Zambia ke majeli sukunya ke susesa Zambia ke majeli sukunya ke susesa. So this is a lullaby from Trinidad and Tobago, and where the mother says, "You better go to sleep, or the zombie will come and eat you up and drink all your blood."
In fact, when we taught this lullaby, our lullabyers secretly, slowly, one by one, the confessions came out. Yeah, even I confess to have done this.
I was also just going to say that.
Yeah, Puchandi Vandruam, policeman will come, Yakuman will come, whatever that, yeah.
Okay, so that. Any other interesting highlights like this? It would be lovely to.
Yeah, there is an agrarian.
There's an
again,
agrarian a song
like a work song, almost, yeah. You should.
So one of the guest artists, Shilpa Mudbi, who was here yesterday, so she taught us this Bidri Kannada folk lullaby that talks about the strife of an agrarian woman working in the fields. And in the song, perhaps the visuals would be that she's working on the fields and wearing her baby on her back. She doesn't have the luxury of the right kind of a setting or a space and dim lights and, so while she's working on the field, so the lullaby itself is set to a certain rhythm. And like probably when they're pounding grain or they're working in the fields. But this lullaby talks of strife, one thing in the composition itself, but the lyrics is actually, she brings forth her frustrations as a mother. And I'm sure most parents here would agree, right? It is frustrating at the end of a work day or during work when you'll have to make your baby sleep. So there, her frustrations are like, I've made a bowl of fresh bowl of porridge, and this baby is refusing to eat it. She's refusing to wear her clothes to keep herself warm. I mean, those sort of frustrations. But otherwise, most often it is like you are also as tired, right? Doing the chores, even in an urban city life. Just to be doing your everyday chores and probably working and having to make this baby sleep, eat, and take care. It is a lot. It can't be every time very beautiful and a lovely experience. It is, you know. So there are many lullabies that bring forth that. There are lullabies that speak to the baby and say, "When will you grow up? Please grow up." You know, the Lithuanian lullaby.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a very interesting story. If we can share that, yeah.
So the children from the school where my wife works in, Neha in Chennai, VXL Educational Trust's Kaleidoscope Learning Center has children in the autism spectrum. And they have started communicating to their teachers through facilitated communication. And they asked us to sing a Lithuanian lullaby. And why Lithuanian, we asked. And they said that the farmers in Lithuania are protesting against their government because the government wants to bring in the genetically modified seeds, and they are just against the whole thing, but it's a losing battle like everywhere else. But they said that you all have to sing this lullaby so that people come to know about this, and whatever is, possible to do can be done by people. So, I mean, we've had like, all kinds of
I mean, before I ask you my next question, I was just wondering if you could hum that.
Lithuanian?
Yeah, Lithuanian, yeah.
Okay.
Čučelula dukritele mano mile moj. Čučelula dukritele mano mile moj. Kiekiu per tu kerezenyali pakta kalor. Čučelula dukritele mano mile moj. Mano mile moj. Mano mile moj.
It's fantastic. Do you also have had to, set a tune to these, or when you research them, do you also find them in the tune that they were originally set in?
99% of the times the compositions are traditional.
Yeah.
We have also composed a few lullabies. In fact, halfway through our 52nd week, we celebrated our halfway mark and we called it the sleepiest lullaby.
Okay.
And
Because we could.
we composed a lullaby with sleep terms from different languages. Araro, Ariraro from Tamil,
Aru Aru, which is a very starking similarity in Spanish.
Doi Doi in Sinhalese,
Do Do, again in Trinidad,
Trinidadian,
Tobago,
Do Do Piti Popo.
many parts of Europe. Yeah, Do Do, Jojo, Zozo.
Jojo in Kannada, Zozo in Marathi, the one we sang at the beginning. We can sing that
Talelo.
maybe.
Yeah,
Talelo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
line,
Yeah, so that's our sleepiest lullaby, and we most often teach this lullaby in our concerts, which is easily singable, hummable, and like a gift that we are offering to our audience.
Araro, ariraro, zo zo zo, soja. Araro, ariraro, zo zo zo, soja. Doi doi doi, घूरे घूरे उरंगे. Doi doi doi, घूरे घूरे उरंगे. Araro, ariraro, zo zo zo, soja.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Every time, you sing this, I'm also thinking today about how this very personal lullaby that's sung, one person to their child, has also now found place in mainstream culture. We're sharing it with a larger audience. Personal stories have become collective, shared experiences, right? I want to ask you both really about what was that process like to really also, in the context where we also talk about this is mine, this is my personal, this is from my personal archives. What is it like to actually, get someone's consent to really make it part of a larger narrative, so to speak, right? Mainstream, a whole bunch of us are listening to what some mother probably composed for her child. So I'm just thinking aloud about that idea.
The whole sharing experience of what it. Actually, here I think a little bit to answer also one of your questions as to why we covered the international language, and to speak about your question right now. I have to remember our lullabiers at this time, because we had so many people who were living alone in different parts of the world. We had a few of them who couldn't come back home, who couldn't come back to India. They were all by themselves. There were some of them who were caregiving their elderly parents. So lullaby, the meaning and understanding itself for us evolved as two musicians, starting from week 1 to 52, to what lullabies meant to us, from as parents as to what we sing to our children, and to share with the larger community. So sharing here, to answer your question, this sharing also for us was, one is, of course, we had people from different lands, different cultures, different parts of India and around the world. We had a musician from Manchester, Pierre, who also played on our Urdu lullaby, Amna Bibi. He played the trombone. He was one of our guest artists. Taking Indian languages to them, and also teaching them lullabies in their own languages, or familiar languages, European languages. It was the whole blend of these cultures coming together. And I think the similarity would be that the feeling of all these lullabies emerged from the space of that warmth, that vatsalyam that we're talking about. Definitely to share it more than keeping it with ourselves was a very liberating feeling, right? We were also learning these lullabies only to share. Right. And not to, right? So week after week, we will, what else can we learn to offer to our community? Yeah, I don't know if that
actually,
answers
as
your
you
question.
say, lullabies do come from a very personal space.
Yeah.
And it's from this a very personal bond which one makes with the other who's trying to make the person sleep. It's we also say that it's
Yeah, that's
not
what
only a mother and child
Yeah.
relationship, but anybody can
Anybody,
sing
yeah,
anyone
yeah.
to sleep. And lullabies are for anybody who likes sleeping, who is everyone,
Yeah.
and who would want to sleep, So even when I, personally, when I sing a song that I sing only to my daughter, if I sing that out on stage, she says, "Why did you sing that song?
That's what I was
it's
asking.
my
Yeah,
song,
yeah.
So then,
That's our little secret,
that's
right?
Our,
Yeah.
that's our thing. So it is actually a very
personal-
a very personal thing.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
checked with everybody,
Yeah.
whoever
Yeah.
we got that song from.
Right,
Is
right.
it okay? We were really looking for something like this, and something like this is so precious. And of course, we are being taken over by every other, the more popular mediums of entertainment
Of
kind
course,
of take
yeah.
over folk
Right.
at any point
Yeah,
of time.
absolutely.
So it is, and that is what we said. And whoever agreed, we kind of,
Yeah,
we said that
for
we would
sure,
like
yeah,
to
yeah.
do this.
I just have one final question, then maybe we could take a couple of questions from the audience. Really about, at the time that you embarked on the project, we were all going through trauma. The world was going through trauma. So in a sense, did you also, by starting this project, find in the project itself a sense of anchoring, a sense of purpose? Even though it seemed like you were talking to each other every day, and except Wednesdays, did you also did it become some sort of a healing mechanism for you as well?
Most definitely.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I have to agree to that, yeah.
because it is one thing we still keep like acknowledging that we took such a project and saw it through, and we completed it. That is something that we are very, very happy about. And it's lullabies. We both enjoy lullabies as musicians, and we don't see, like, now when we are doing concerts of lullabies, it's a beautiful experience, and we often forget that we are on stage and there's an audience. Whenever there's a performer and audience, there is a disconnect. And this, in lullaby concerts, that kind of dissolves, and we really enjoy that feeling. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I just thought that it would be, now that we have Javed also here, be lovely for you to end this session with one final lullaby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
So, so we've changed our mind as to what to offer. Amna Bibi was one of our first releases from our lullaby onto the social media platforms and audio listening platforms. We collaborated with Khatija Rahman on this particular lullaby. Yeah, it was taught to me by it was an heirloom from my Guruji's maternal grandmother, Ustad Fayaz Khan's maternal grandmother. Yeah, so.
आमना बीबी के गुलशन में आई है ताजा बहार। आमना बीबी के गुलशन में आई है ताजा बहार। पढ़ते हैं सल्लल्लाहु वसल्लम, पढ़ते हैं सल्लल्लाहु वसल्लम। आज दारो दीवार नबी जी अल्लाह अल्लाह बिज़िक्रिल्लाहि तत्मईनुल कुलूब। अल्लाह अल्लाह बिज़िक्रिल्लाहि तत्मईनुल कुलूब। जिब्रील आए झूला झुलाने, लोरी दे ज़ीशान। जिब्रील आए झूला झुलाने, लोरी दे ज़ीशान। सो जा रहमते आलम, सो जा रहमते आलम। रहमत के सरकार नबी जी अल्लाह अल्लाह बिज़िक्रिल्लाहि तत्मईनुल कुलूब। अल्लाह अल्लाह बिज़िक्रिल्लाहि तत्मईनुल कुलूब। तत्मईनुल कुलूब, तत्मईनुल कुलूब।
All I want to say is thank you for the lullabies, but I'm going to ask the audience to see if there are any questions. Any questions?
That is something that we also realized. Even our concerts are just the two of us. We don't have a band. That's something that
Yes.
I think about any form of music, I mean, where the lyrics are of importance.
Yeah.
Even when I sing Bhakti and Sufi, I like to keep the instruments at a very minimal, because it's
Yeah.
the shabd ki chot aani
Absolutely.
chahiye.
Yeah. Saying that in front of the maestro himself. Absolutely. So thank you very much, and really thank you. The Single Lullaby project, can you just tell us if it's available, where we can actually buy the album and where it's available?
So albums are no longer bought and sold. But singlelullaby.in is a website where you can stream our lullabies on our YouTube channel, Spotify, iTunes. Everything has. So we are slowly releasing our lullabies. The children from Kaleidoscope, they told us you all should not forget about this project and make sure you all release all the songs. So we are making sure that we release all the songs
We've
that
released
we
only
did.
5 until now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5.
Yes.
We have a
Yes,
long way to go. We
long
have
way
a
to go.
collection of 50 to 60 lullabies more,
Yeah.
but it's a process. Yeah,
Yes.
That's
so-
great.
And
This
that
is
is
truly a celebration of research, of documentation, of sharing, and now the performance quality of it as well. So thank you so much. This is really truly generosity of spirit to actually come and make this such a mainstream shared experience. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for being a wonderful audience.
And thank you,
Thank you.
Akhila.
Thank you, Akhila. Thank you,
Bangalore
Poetry
Poetry Festival,
Festival.
for
Yeah.
giving us this
The space, yeah,
space.
to share our
Yes.
work.